Concentration.
Did you know that the Channel Islands was the only British territory occupied by the Nazis in World War II? And here on Alderney, although this was mostly evacuated, this island became a fortress with guns facing in every direction, including 7 miles towards France. So to protect the D-Day landings from any kind of German attack, the HMS Rodney bombarded this island with Spitfires flying overhead to help guide the attack. This is the kind of history that I wasn't taught about in school, and last year the Henry Euler Trust helped us to celebrate this very special occasion with a Spitfire air display. This year, the Henry Euler Trust are helping Alderney celebrate the 80th anniversary of the liberation from Nazi occupation. So I've come down to meet the man keeping this island's history alive.
I'm Colin Partridge. I'm a founder trustee of the Henry Euler Memorial Trust. Henry Euler was an electrical engineer. He joined the Royal Naval Volunteer Reserve at the start of the war. After the war, he and his wife Mary used to come regularly to Alderney, and I suppose they were committed at some point to actually coming to live in Alderney. Unfortunately, Henry died. Mary came here in the early 80s, and when she eventually died, she'd already set up this trust.
I don't think people realise that Alderney was still occupied even after VE Day.
No, they probably don't. In fact, I think we may well have been the last to be liberated in Europe.
At this table, the German surrender of Alderney took place on the 16th of May 1945, and apparently this is only half of it. So if you look at the picture here, you can clearly see that this is only half of the table that was there. But it's amazing. So Brigadier Snow would have came to the island. They would not have seen the peaceful looking idyllic place that we all know today. And of course the very people that lived here were shipped off somewhere far away. For those people, Victory in Europe Day, well, they weren't really celebrating until, at least a week, maybe more after. All right, I've just noticed before we leave, this is a picture of Judge French, who was actually the man that ordered the evacuation of Alderney and set everyone on their way to the UK before the Germans arrived. This is the HMS Medusa. She's a wartime vessel that played a critical role in the D-Day landings. And today she's come into Bray Harbour to invite the people of Alderney to have a look around. What's your role on the Medusa?
I'm the captain.
Can I please come aboard?
You may.
That is how it's done. Permission granted.
Yeah, they're doing what they should with it, showing folk what was used in those conditions.
Why do you do it?
To remind people what it was like when war was here, I think. Make them remember.
Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Richard Cripwell and I'm the Lieutenant Governor of the Bailiwick of Guernsey. Liberation isn't just a day, it's about remembering what happened to the islands in the past and doing what you can to learn the lessons of that to make sure it doesn't happen again in the future.
These are all taken on board.
You imagine how it must have felt.
Yeah, how young.
Just before you leave, how do you think Colin's done?
What I will say, the Ula Trust is a wonderful thing, keeping alive people's interest in the maritime history of this island, and the visit of Medusa is just another part of that. This is the Spitfire or the Lancaster of the water. It deserves to be as well known as those things are, and I'm very grateful to Colin and everybody in the Henry Euler Trust for bringing it to Alderney again.
Fantastic. How is it having these amazing school kids on board?
It's great to have them here, and it's great to see young people enjoying the ship and genuinely interested in it. It's part of the island story, so it's important to them.
When we were children, the Medusa would come in once a year and the sailors would throw a party for island children.
It kind of makes you realise this ship, it serves more than just a place to go and look at. It really is it's like a floating museum. I love history. It's important to remember that without the passion and dedication from volunteers, our history would simply be forgotten. And now over to Force 135, who are going to show us what it would have been like when liberating this island.
We are living history reenactors, and we're telling the history that people are forgetting. We need to remember our past.
How did you go about finding out the exact, things that they wore?
We're looking at original battle dresses, first-person accounts, historical records. I've delved into the Imperial War Museum. The Jersey Archive is excellent as well. My bookshelf is groaning under the number of books I've got.
We've kind of all grown up with immediate grandparents who are in the war and everything. This generation is slightly more disjointed from it, so it's really good for them to learn history of what happened on their island.
From what I understand, my great-grandfather was one of those who was left on the island at the time of the German occupation. The story goes that he refused to leave his prize bull at the time.
Why is it important to learn about history?
Because this actually happened one day, a long time ago.
And now we finally come together to pay tribute to those who gave this island our freedom.
Alderney's war finally came to an end.
In a way, it's a very sad day for Alderney because of what happened after the people returned and the terrible struggle everybody had. But it's because of the hard work, the dedication that those people put in, that we can now live the life we do today here. So we should remember them.
We read about what happened in those years when it was occupied, but we have no idea how much it really meant.
It shouldn't be seen as a dark island anymore. This is a sunny, bright island, and we love living here, and we should celebrate that freedom that we've now got.
Left, right, left, left.
This is the start of the long journey home for our community, who had been living in uncertainty for 5 years. And when that information came through to them that the Germans had formally surrendered on the 16th of May, I think there would have been dancing in the streets, because that was the day that they knew, if it were at all possible, they could return home here. And that they did.
This is a very rare opportunity, so to be invited to do it and take part in it is a huge honour.
It's very moving, I think. I mean, we shan't get the 80th again, will we?
My family obviously were one of those left the island and came back, so yeah, it's very important to me.
I just love the way the community come together and we remember what my grandparents and my father came back to.
The homecoming is a very emotional day for all those people who did return, but of course that wouldn't have happened unless the British forces arrived on the 16th of May 1945, so that sums it up really.
All right, so that is it. Thank you very much to the Henry Euler Trust and Force 135 and of course the HMS Medusa for coming over to the island to help us celebrate Liberation Day. If you want to find out more about the Henry Euler Trust, click in the link below. And as always, till next time,